Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Balava Girivaradhari Yasodhanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jaya Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe. Jaya Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Krishna Balaram Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Go Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Go Hari Bol. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimati Gopal Krishna Goswami Chamani Prabhupada Shasritani Prabhasha Tiracha Pacharangana Sarvapate Maha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirdishesa Sunyavadi Pasachadeshatarine. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Parakamalang Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sadvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakanvitam Sha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavanispari Vishabanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Maharaj, as we start this class, there's a small announcement that
Okay.
we will make the best notes out of today's class. Will get Mahaprasadam delivered at their home tomorrow for entire
Wow.
family. So please be attentive. Please prepare nice notes and share with all of us. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Maharaj, please.
That's very nice. Home delivery of prasadam. So we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, in the matter of creation, chapter 2, and text number 16. Yes. Susruso sadadanasya Vasudeva kataruchi Shammahat sevaya vipra Punya tirtha nishevanat Susruso sadadanasya Vasudeva kataruchi Shammahat sevaya vipra Punya tirtha nishevanat Susruso sadadanasya Vasudeva kataruchi Shanmahat sevaya vipra Punya tirtha nisevanat. Word for word meaning, Susruso, one who is engaged in hearing, Sadadanasya, with care and attention, Vasudeva, in respect to Vasudev, Kata, the message, Ruchi, affinity, Shat, is made possible, Mahatsevaya, by service rendered to pure devotees, Vipraha, O twice born, Punyatirtha, those who are cleansed of all vice, Nishevanat, by service. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. Purport. The conditioned life of a living being is caused by his revolting against the Lord. There are men called devas, or godly living beings, and there are men called asuras, or demons, who are against the authority of the Supreme Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, 16th chapter, a vivid description of the asuras is given, in which it is said that the asuras are put into lower and lower states of ignorance, life after life, and so sink to the lower animal forms and have no information of the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead. These asuras are gradually rectified to God consciousness by the mercy of the Lord's liberated servitors in different countries according to the supreme will. Such devotees of God are very confidential associates of the Lord, and when they come to save human society from the dangers of godlessness, they are known as the powerful incarnations of the Lord, as the sons of the Lord, as servants of the Lord, or as associates of the Lord. But none of them falsely claim to be God themselves. This is a blasphemy declared by the asuras, and the demoniac followers of such asuras also accept pretenders as God or his incarnation in the revealed scriptures there is definite information of the incarnation of God. No one should be accepted as God or an incarnation of God unless he is confirmed by the revealed scriptures. The servants of God are to be respected as God by the devotees who actually want to go back to Godhead. Such servants of God are called Mahatmas or Tirthas, and they preach according to particular time and place. The servants of God urge people to become devotees of the Lord. They never tolerate being called God. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was God himself according to the indication of the revealed scriptures, but he played the part of a devotee. People who knew him to be God addressed him as God, but he used to block his ears with his hands and chant the name of Lord Vishnu. He strongly protested against being called God, although undoubtedly he was God himself. The Lord behaves so to warn us against unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. The servants of God come to propagate God consciousness, and intelligent people should cooperate with them in every respect. By serving the servant of God, one can please God more than by directly serving the Lord. The Lord is more pleased when he sees that his servants are properly respected, because such servants risk everything for the service of the Lord and so are very dear to the Lord. The Lord declares in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 69, that no one is dearer to him than one who risks everything to preach his glory. By serving the servants of the Lord, one gradually gets the quality of such servants, and thus one becomes qualified to hear the glories of God. The eagerness to hear about God is the first qualification of a devotee eligible for entering the kingdom of God. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Susruso sadadanasya vasudeva kataruchi shan mahat sevaya vipra punya tirtha nisevanat. So the importance of hearing is recommended here, especially to those whose devotees are completely freed from all vice. By serving them, by hearing from them, especially the message of Vasudeva or Lord Krishna, one's heart becomes completely purified from the contamination of the fruitive activities that one performed in the past, or all the sinful activities that one had committed. So there are two kinds of living beings in this world, as we've heard from the purport: those who are called devatas or godly, and those who are asuric in nature, those who are demoniac in nature. The difference between the demons and the demigods is that the demigods or the godly personalities, they adhere or they accept the supremacy of the Supreme Lord. Contrary, the demons, they know that there is God, or they don't accept God. They don't want to accept his supremacy. The Lord is the supreme master of everyone, and the demons, they want to become the supreme also themselves, supreme master. So furtherwise, the nature of the godly personalities, it says that they have also the 26 qualities, explains in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. They're truthful, they're compassionate, they're merciful, they're poet, and so on. Straightforward, kind. Unlike the demons or the asuras, they are the opposite. They are very cruel in nature. They tend more into enjoying their senses by the sense objects, by their senses. They are prone to increasing their material desires more and more and more. And they want to lord it over the material energy. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada says, in the purport also, in the 16th chapter, there is a description of asuras. So much wealth that I have right now, and I will accumulate more and more and more, and I will enjoy with my family, friends, and loved ones. They're not satisfied. Their greed increases more and more and more. And therefore, the demoniac personalities, they sink more and more into hellish condition because they don't have any information of the absolute truth. This is the only way how one can be saved. In the nectar of devotion, or also Prahlad Maharaj, he mentions the 9 processes of devotional service when he was asked by his father, the king of demons, Hiranyakashipu, what have you learned in school today? So out of the 9 processes of devotional service, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Padasevanam, Bandhanam, Dashyam, Sakyam, Atmani Vedanam. These are all different processes of devotional service. And hearing is the beginning in Krishna consciousness and devotional service. Hearing is the preliminary, is the start. And in Krishna consciousness movement, we're giving a chance for everyone to join us in our devotional practices to hear. So in making progress in Krishna consciousness, the hearing is very, very essential. It's very, very important. It's like we don't see our mind, we don't see our intelligence, we don't see our ego, but we can feel those. Also, one can have different gyanendriyas, this learning, acquiring senses, just like taste, we can tell if it's sweet, if it's sour. Smell, we can tell if it's fragrant or is obnoxious smell. In the ears, also we can hear. In the eyes, we can see. But of all these gyanendriyas, or 5 acquiring senses, also touch the skin. We can feel if it's hard, if it's soft. But all these different gyanendriyas, or knowledge acquiring senses, the most important is the hearing process. Even in the Puranas, the hearing process is very, very greatly stressed. See, the conditioned state of the living entities in the material world is compared to just like a man lying unconscious, having bitten by a snake. This is from the Garuda Purana. So because in the beginning, when one has been bitten by a snake, he comes into comatose condition. Not immediately he will be consumed or he will die because of the poison, the venom from the snake. So the unconscious state of this man who's lying down, is bitten by a snake, can be revived by the sound of a mantra. He does not die immediately, but because of his being unconscious and comatose, he can be revived by mantra. So anyone who is in the material world is also sleeping. He's very ignorant of his actual self, is ignorant of his actual duty and his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So materialistic life means that one is beaten by the snake of Maya or illusion. This Mahamaya. Mahamaya, the nature or the function of the Mahamaya, she governs us under the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. And her function is to delude us, to put us into illusion and to keep us away from Krishna. That is her main service, even though she is a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord. Now, the one who is beaten by the snake of Maya can be brought back to life again by the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, or by hearing the transcendental subject matters that pertains to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is not that one will die immediately, but somehow or other he can be revived. And this, how he can be revived? By chanting or by hearing from the right source. So it's very difficult to not become revived, especially in this day and age. We're hearing so many things, especially, the social media. There's so many news, so many gossip, so many unwanted vibration. And therefore, it says here in this verse that we should hear properly from the right source. We should hear the messages of Vasudev from a Mahatma. Mahatma. Mahatmanas tumam partam daivi prakritim asti. They are those Mahatmas or great souls. They are beyond the modes of material nature. And the Supreme Lord himself, from time to time, he may come to introduce or reintroduce or reestablish the principles of religion, just like 5,000 years ago, to his dear friend and devotee Arjuna. Or he may send his bona fide representatives like the spiritual master, messengers, or the son of the Supreme Lord, time, place, and circumstances. So such devotees are very confidential associates of the Lord. They share the same anxiety as the Supreme Lord. It says in the Shastras that the only main anxiety of the Supreme Lord is that when will we go back home, back to Godhead? Just like caring parents whose child left home and went astray, get lost, become bewildered, so much sufferings and miseries that the child is experiencing away from home. So the parents are always ready to accept, to receive the lost child. So similarly, the Supreme Lord is like this. And he will send his pure representatives who have the same anxiety as the Supreme Lord himself. They share the same anxiety. So, and they're called acharyas or avatars, Sakyavesh avatars, empowered incarnations. They're holy teachers, and they speak about the transcendental activities of the Lord. And by hearing from them, we derive great benefit by purifying our mind, purifying our existence. An example is just like in a desert, it's a scorching heat, and somehow or other one may find an oasis. An oasis means there's some body of water, so one will find relief or coolness. So by continuous hearing from the nectar that's flowing from the lotus lips of these pure devotees of the Supreme Lord, then one will become relieved from the fire of material existence. It says also that the world is compared to a forest, but it's on fire. And the spiritual master or great personalities who are bona fide representatives of the Supreme Lord, they're like rain clouds that give showers into that scorching heat. That's why we sing every morning in the Guru Bastakam, Samsara Dava Nalalida Loka Tranaya Karuna Ganaganatvam Praptasya Kalyana Gunarnavasya Bande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam. By hearing such transcendental topics, one will be relieved or freed from the material hunger, thirst, fear, and lamentation, and as well as the illusions of material existence will be extinguished. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also recommended this, the process of hearing as a means of self-realization in the age of Kali. By following thoroughly the regulative principles and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and hearing especially Shrimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, then our hearts becomes cleansed from all of these unwanted desires that we have in our hearts, namely lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, envy, just by hearing. So of all the 5 acquiring knowledge senses, knowledge of acquiring senses, the ears is the most important. Prabhupada gave an example also, just like one may be sleeping in a sleeping condition, and if someone sees that someone is going to kill you just by telling you, hey, someone is going to kill you, so you will wake up. All your senses may be not working at that time while sleeping, but from hearing, if somebody says fire, 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 then naturally you will wake up. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote this song, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago. Jeev Jago, that means wake up, sleeping soul. Kota Nidra Jao Maya, Pisa Chira Kole. That we are sleeping in the lap of which called Maya, due to illusion, due to the material energy. The illusion, material energy has put us into illusion that we will be happy here eternally. but it's not. The opposite is that we're always suffering. So yes, Bhagavad Gita also says the materialistic person can give up his material hankerings only by becoming situated in Krishna consciousness. So yes, that's why we're doing this every day. We have this, we use our senses to acquire knowledge. We have working senses also. But out of that, the ear is the most important. There is a superior status of the ear, that even the softest noise can be enough to wake up a sleeping person, right? It's like some people are what? They have that quiet, but they can be easily woken up by just a little bit of noise. So similarly, hearing spiritual sound vibration is very, very important. One who is eager, this is the sign or the quality that one, if he wants to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, then he would want to hear. It's like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that the sign of an advanced devotee is he's always eager to hear the transcendental subject matter of the nature of the Supreme Lord, his name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes. The other 8 processes of devotional service will be easily accomplished if in the beginning we are good in hearing. Prabhupada says also, oh, that's why I'm good in kirtan, because I'm good in hearing. Kirtan is the next one in the processes of the 9 processes of bhakti, is the second part. After hearing, then you repeat what you've heard. Just like Prabhupada says, whatever you hear, you just repeat it. And then you just keep repeating and repeating and repeating. And then you will have this quality to remember Krishna. That's why it says, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So yes, the quality must be developed, this hearing propensity. Unfortunately, we are lazy. We don't want to hear. Reading Shrimad Bhagavatam or hearing Shrimad Bhagavatam is the same. It's like when we read Srila Prabhupada's books, it is the same as hearing from him. And Prabhupada says, I did not write these books. Krishna wrote these books. These books are actually his spiritual ecstasy. So we are being bombarded by many, many things. Television, internet, newspaper, all of these things, different informations, music, videos coming from television or the internet, social media. And it's easy to get diverted. It's easy to get diverted. Those who wish to make advancement in Krishna consciousness, they should try, or they're tried to avoid. One should avoid all of this unnecessary informations or unnecessary things that will pollute our mind, pollute our consciousness. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is very much condemned. If one wants to make advancement in spiritual life, then he should avoid all of this mundane, hearing mundane topics. Yeah, it says in the Bhagavatam, for 2nd canto, 1st chapter, text 2, Srotabhya dhani rajendra nrinam shanti sahasrasha apashyatang atmatatvang griheshu griha medinam. Those persons who are materially engrossed, being blind to the knowledge of ultimate truth, have many subject matters for hearing in human society, or, O Emperor. Yeah, there's so many subject matters for hearing. Political science, Prabhupada says, scientific, social, economic, and so on. But due to a poor fund of knowledge, they set aside the question of the ultimate miseries of life, namely miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Factually, the human life is meant for making an ulterior solution to birth, death, old age, and disease. But the Grihamedis, ignorant householders, being illusioned by the material nature, forget everything about self-realization. We spoke about this the other day in Ghaziabad, about the Grihastha ashram and the Grihamedis. Grihamedis, their main concern is just to enjoy. The center of their life is sense enjoyment, fulfilling the desire to lord it over the material energy. And they're not so much concerned about reawakening their original Krishna consciousness. So Grihasthas especially is recommended to hear. This is what the scripture is saying, that the Grihasthas especially, because they have this license for sense enjoyment, and therefore they easily will miss the purpose of human form of life, being surrounded by family members, friends or relatives or so-called loved ones. Then the purpose of human form of life, to inquire about the absolute, is not of utmost importance. It's not so relevant for them. So yes, the purpose of human form of life is to reawaken our original Krishna consciousness. It says here, ruchi, kata ruchi. We don't have the affinity to hear Vasudeva kata ruchi, especially those who are householders whose main goal is to increase their wealth, to increase their bank balance, to increase their material sense enjoyment. Then they don't want to be involved in these activities of Vasudeva kata ruchi. Ruchi means taste. One performs bhakti after having one's taste. This is the beginning of bhakti, actually, when one started to have taste, especially of hearing and chanting, remembering the name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. The non-devotees or the sense enjoyers, the materialists, they don't care about that. They think that the goal of life is to be happy materially, which doesn't last long. And the happiness that one derives from fulfilling one's desire to enjoy the material energy, is the result is that they suffer more and more. Unlike the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they understand how to serve the Vaishnavas. They understand how to serve the Vaishnavas. They understand how to respect them. According, there is this statement coming from the acharyas, especially from Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that there are two categories of Vaishnavas. One is ordinary Vaishnavas, and the other one is the transcendentally situated Vaishnavas. And who are the ordinary Vaishnavas? He enumerates them in three categories of the ordinary Vaishnavas. Those who believe in the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, but do not practice them. They believe, yes, but they say, yes, yes, I know, but they don't practice very strictly. Second one of an ordinary Vaishnava category, those who accept the markings of a Vaishnava and respect the Vaishnavas, and yet they still do not practice strictly. You must have experience of this. Some, they just want to wear tilak, or they want to wear a kantimala, and they have also japamala. They may chant sometimes, but they don't follow strictly the four regulative principles. And for hearing, they don't have so much taste. Ruchi, they don't have ruchi. And then those who are from Vaishnava families and wear marks of Vaishnavas, but do not practice strictly. Yes, they came. How many times we've heard, oh, they send child to the Gurukul. In the beginning, the child may be strictly studying, but then when the child grew up, kind of lost, went somewhere else, did not follow. In the beginning, yes, strictly, but then afterwards, no, not so serious anymore, coming from a Vaishnava family. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, in India, one can easily see these examples of the three classes of ordinary Vaishnavas. As one can with the generations of Gurukulis and congregational devotees in the West. They can all be elevated by associating with more committed Vaishnavas. And then there are also three categories of transcendentally situated Vaishnavas. It begins with Kanista. Begin at the Kanista stage and are as follows. Those advanced being fixed in following the regulative principles and by regularly chanting. The Kanista Adhikaris, they don't have so much strong faith. They may follow strictly, but still the faith is not very strong. This is how we categorize the Vaishnavas in this category, which are in the transcendental state. Those advanced in faith and practices and known as Madhyam Adhikaris. Madhyam Adhikaris, they know who is God, they know who they are, their position, they know who are the innocents, and they know who are the envious. For them, they try to avoid those who are envious, and for the innocents, they try to help them. They preach to them, they talk about Krishna to them. And the third class in the transcendentally situated Vaishnavas are those who are advanced in realization. They're called Uttamadhikari. So as much as possible, we should try to hear from the third class of a transcendentally situated Vaishnava, an Uttama Adhikari. Because when they speak through their realization, and their message is so purifying. It penetrates the heart. Now we have many so-called good reciters of Bhagavatam. Professional reciters. That's what you call kathakars. It's like if you go to Vrindavan, some are genuine, but more are like they know and they memorize the Shastra. And for them, it becomes like a way of living to recite the Bhagavatam or the Vedic scriptures. For them, it's like the means of their livelihood. So you don't get so much benefit from that. And some of them are Mayavadis. Ultimately, they're Mayavadis. Sometimes they will say, oh, because they're so popular, they have many followers. these katakars. And some of them, they're being worshipped as the Supreme Lord, like the same level as the Supreme Lord. They will say, oh, yes, if you think I'm God, then maybe I'm God. It's like Prabhupada says, in India, there's a factory of God. Every day there's a born God. Because some of these cheaters, they will take advantage of their followers. But a genuine devotee of the Supreme Lord, he never says that he is God. It's like Prabhupada, he will always say, I'm a servant of a servant of a servant of a servant of the Supreme Lord. And whenever he is praised, whenever Srila Prabhupada is praised or give credit to him, then he will always say, oh, this is only due to the mercy of my spiritual master. Prabhupada gave an example here. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the purport, he is none other than the Supreme Lord himself. And those who knew that he is the Supreme Lord, none other than the Supreme Lord, and they will call him and they will address him, praise him as Supreme Lord, but he will close his ears. He doesn't want to show, to set an example so that in the future we can tell those who are actually bogus reciters of Bhagavatam or saying that he is God himself, then this is a warning. This is a warning. There's so many unscrupulous men who take pleasure in being addressed as God. Bhagavan this, Bhagavan that. No, the Lord already came 500 years ago, and the last incarnation will come after what, 427,000 years. Kalki avatar. So the servants of the Supreme Lord, Mahatma, these are great personalities. Vasudeva Sarvam Iti, Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. They know Vasudev is the conclusion or the all in all. They know and understand and realize that Vasudev is the proprietor of everything. Aham Sarvasya Prabhabho Mata Sarvam Pravartati. Maya Jaksena Prakriti Suyati Sacharacharam. He is the source of all both the material and spiritual worlds. That he is the enjoyer also. Bhaktaram Yagyatapasam Sarvaloka Maisparam. He is the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. He is the proprietor of all Sarvaloka, all the planets. So, because they're genuine, representative of the Supreme Lord. So when we serve them, how do we serve them? Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur also pointed out how we can serve these different devotees. Service to them can be categorized in 4 ways. By giving them a seat out of respect, when you receive a devotee or Vaishnava, you give them a special seat. It's like like Srila Prabhupada, they offer Prabhupada very nice Vyasa-san, because he's a representative of Sukadev Goswami. It's like one time he was giving a class, a lecture in a university, and one student he says, "Why are you sitting in a very high seat?" And Prabhupada says, "This is out of respect to me." Well, if you know the philosophy, you can also sit down here. If you know the science of Krishna consciousness, then you sit here also. And then one time he told his disciples not to offer him a very big, elaborate, high-level seat or Vyasa-san, because others, they will not understand this. So at least if some Vaishnavas, advanced devotees, or especially Grihastas, it is the duty of the Grihastas to invite Vaishnavas to hear from them. You offer them a nice seat out of respect. You also wash their feet. Washing feet is also showing that you're worshiping them because they're representative. Out of respect, you wash their feet. This is the duty of the householders to wash the feet of the sadhus when they come to, so that like to give relief, because the sadhu or the devotee has been traveling far away, or this is like to give relief for the devotee. Hear from him. When you hear from the sadhus or great personalities, you are also getting the association. In the 6 loving exchanges of the devotees in the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami mentioned this, to hear from them and to reveal your mind to them, accepting gifts and receiving, giving gifts, and accepting prasad and serving prasad. And in this way, assist him in any way, practical service, like menial service. You can cook for him, you can wash his clothes, you can do some email for him. In these days, yeah, these are practical, menial service. You can clean his room and all these things. So a devotee should offer these services to his spiritual master or to similarly advanced Vaishnavas. We should always remember that the God brothers of our spiritual master is also as worshipable, or should be given due respect equal to our spiritual master. It says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita how to do this. So the subject matter, we cannot finish the whole 1 hour. This is a very, very interesting topic, especially hearing. We didn't even talk about the real importance of hearing, but hearing from the text of Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the most important process of hearing. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. So that's why every day Srila Prabhupada says in the temple or in your Grihastha ashram, you should also have the practice of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is full of transcendental chanting of the holy name, fame, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Lord. And in this way, one's existence, and if you are fortunate enough to hear from the mouth of a realized devotee, then the gateway, the door towards the spiritual world is widely open. This is how we can go back home, back to Godhead, hearing and chanting. This is very, very important. So we'd like to thank the devotees in Ghaziabad, Gurugram, Sector 45, for inviting us today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. It's very, very interesting topic. We could go on more and more, but I think we'll stop here now. If you have any questions or comments, please do so. Hare Krishna.
I request devotees to please raise their hands in case anybody has any questions.
Or you can send in the chat. You can send it. You can type it.
You can also type it in the chat box. Maharaj, Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Maharaj, very, very grateful for a wonderful class this morning. Maharaj, I have an inquiry at your lotus feet.
Yes.
Please permit me, Maharaj. Maharaj, you mentioned that Maya or Durga has been given a special service of keeping devotees in accrual service.
No. Keeping the conditioned souls.
Conditioned souls. Okay.
Because Maya doesn't keep the devotees. Maya released the devotees from her grips.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, this was second part of my question, but thankfully you clarified it so nicely. Maharaj, the first part of the question was that why Krishna, who wants all of us to come back, will give a service to one of its pure devotee to keep everybody in illusion. Why would Krishna do that to Maharaj?
Well, first of all, Krishna didn't want us to come to the material world. It is our choice to be here. We want to be happy, separate from Krishna. So Krishna created the material energy, the material world, and the material world is meant for us to learn, not to suffer. Coming to the material world is part of it is suffering and miseries. Dukalayam, ashashvatam. It is temporary and is full of miseries. So by having the conditioned souls, after some time, keep on trying and trying and trying to be happy, he will realize that I cannot really be happy here. Let me get out of here. And Durga Devi, she's an extension of Srimati Radharani. The Yoga Maya, the presiding internal energy in the spiritual world, also puts the devotees into illusion to think that Krishna is God. Is that Krishna's dog? So here, the nature of the material energy is to put us into illusion, to bind us. Avaranatmika, and there's another one, to put us into illusion and to bind us. She wanted to make sure that we are actually getting sick and tired of this material world and we want to be Krishna conscious. She will not release us not until we become Krishna conscious. So it is a thankless task that Mahamaya is doing, Durga Devi is doing. Actually, she's embarrassed of her service, but that is her service. If we can prove to Mahamaya, to Durga Devi, that actually, yes, I'm fully surrendered unto the Supreme Lord, and I have nothing to do with the material energy, then she will release us. So her duty is like that. Like Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's duty is at the time of destruction, he will dance and there'll be a emission of fire coming from him. And he's also a pure devotee. Vaishnavanam yata shambhu. His followers are ghosts, hobgoblins, witches, those who are in the mode of ignorance, those who are in the mode of darkness. His service is to elevate them eventually, that they come to the mode of passion and then goodness and then pure goodness. So these are examples of servants of the Supreme Lord, but their duties are still in compliance with the service to please Lord Krishna. So it is not fault. It is not their fault to have that kind of service to Lord Krishna. They're just following Lord Krishna's instructions. Do you understand?
Thank you, Maharaj. Very nicely, thank you, Maharaj. It clarifies a lot, Maharaj. We have Deen Sudama Prabhu. Deen Sudama Prabhu, you may put up your question, please.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Maharaj. Maharaj, thank you so much for having this wonderful class.
Yes.
We are really grateful to have your association, and on behalf of all the devotees on Gurgaon Temple, I really like to say thank to you. And Maharaj, the question which I have is, Maharaj, we recently started this morning program digitally, and from Mangala Aarti till Bhagavatam. So
Good.
from 5 a.m. till 9 a.m. we are having this class daily on a daily basis.
You
And
chant together. You chant together. Yes.
yes, Maharaj. We are
Very
chanting
good.
together
Very
and we are
good.
reciting all the artis in the morning.
Yes.
Maharaj, although we are listening, we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, but what could be the best way we can relish this? Because we are hearing Bhagavatam, we should relish, and while we hear Bhagavatam, it purifies our heart. So
Right.
gradually it will come, Maharaj, or is there any a certain process that we should follow?
Well, you see, along with hearing, you should also practice what you've learned from the Bhagavatam in your day-to-day activities. It's like the devotees of the Supreme Lord, they hear this subject matter, but their lifestyle is also regulated. We don't live like a loose lifestyle. We don't go to this restaurant. We don't go to cinema halls. We don't go to nightclubs. You have to be regulated also. And it says also that at the moment we have this, what you call jaundice, we're full of ignorance. So even though we're hearing sweet, very, very nectarian pastimes, transcendental topics, we're not relishing because we are still sick. So, but this is the remedy, this is the cure. Just like a person who has jaundice, the cure is rock candy, sugar candy, rock candy. So for the person who have jaundice, this is the disease of the bile, the liver. Rock candy is the cure, but for him, it tastes very bitter. But what is the taste of rock candy? Sugar. It is sweet, isn't it?
Yes, Maharaj.
So for now, it is like this. It's so sweet. As Rupa Goswami says, I wish I have thousands of mouths and thousands of ears, because the holy name of the Lord is so sweet. One mouth and two ears is not enough. So there'll come a time when actually we will relish the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the association of the devotees. It doesn't matter what category they are. We will relish prasadam, not enjoy, but relish. It's a different thing. We will relish the narration of the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. We just have to keep doing it again and again. And when we come to the platform of purification, it will come. That's why it says one should be determined, one should be enthusiastic, and one should be patient. It's like a husband and wife get married today. Don't expect tomorrow they'll have a child. You have to wait. How many months? 10 months or something, right? So similarly, the process is like this. For others, it may take many, many lifetimes. But for others, it may take this lifetime. As Prabhupada says, it is possible in this lifetime to be Krishna conscious. So be patient, be determined, be enthusiastic, continue what you're doing every day, and hope against hope. Krishna will reciprocate, and he will give you the taste for all of these processes that we are doing.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. So we have Achyuthari Prabhu also raised his hand. Prabhuji, you can ask a question.
Yeah, you have two hands there.
Yes,
I can see
Sukapriya
two
Prabhu.
hands.
Maharaj, Dashrathi Prabhu wanted to ask something. Dashrathi Prabhu, you're there?
Who?
Dashrathi Prabhu. Dashrathi Prasad.
I think Pawan Prabhu had raised hand much before. So
Okay.
don't jump the queue, please. Maharaj, I read some name Pawan Prabhu. If he has not withdrawn,
Where is
he had a
Pavan?
question. Pawan Prabhu.
He's withdrawn. Pawan Prabhu, do
He's
you,
gone.
Lowered his hand.
Pawan Prabhu, do you still want to ask?
Yeah, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu, my question is very, very basic. We learn from the Vaishnavas that Guru must be respected as a representative of God.
Yes,
He is next to God.
right.
But we also see the Guru suffer materially diseases, and he looks like a normal human being.
Right.
So we on the mental platform, we know is the representative, but that devotion, I think, is never there in heart. It is there in the mind, but it never gets to the heart. And the other thing is, the Vaishnavas are very clever. When we try to serve them, they don't accept our service.
Right.
And I have a real life example that I once gave a dandavat to a initiated Vaishnav, and somehow that I feel like he become worried that he also replied back me with the same dandavat. So I think he was more like not wanting to commit some kind of aparad. So he gave me that dandavat again, and I was like shocked, and I couldn't go further from that day to think of serving him, because his reciprocation just shocked me. So I really, I think Vaishnavas, they also don't want to be served. They don't like to take service also. Maybe they're worried that accepting service means something will deduct from their account. I'm not sure how much will deduct.
Okay.
So yes, Prabhu, I'm not sure the practical way of serving the devotees and the Guru. I'm not sure how we can get that into heart, the real desire to serve them.
Well, we should not. This is one of the grievous offense in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, to see the spiritual master as an ordinary man. He's not an ordinary man. Now, he may get old also, he may get a toothache, right? But this is not the same as like us. The body is there, definitely. This aparad is very. This aparad means like, it's to the Guru is the most difficult to get rid of, or to the offense is the most grievous. To think that the spiritual master is an ordinary person. Prabhupada says when he was sick, that this is due to the my disciples not following the principles. This is due to my disciples not taking seriously, after taking initiation, the process of devotional service seriously. They're beyond karma. The spiritual master is beyond karma. No more karma for them. They're transcendental. They're free from the modes of material nature. They're not touched by the modes of material nature. So never think like that. Never compare yourself to the spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada also left his body. Now, one may say, well, if he's like, next to God, he should not die. He should live forever. But Prabhupada lives forever in his books, in his teachings. Everyone has to die. Even Lord Brahma has to leave his body. It's only the demons who wants to live forever, like Hiranyakashipu. He wants to live forever, but he cannot. No one lives forever here. So this birth, death, old age, and disease is present to all the living entities. But main thing is, what is the internal mood of the spiritual master that we cannot understand, that we cannot figure out. How compassionate, how kind, how merciful they are to the conditioned souls, that they go out of their way. They rarely eat little, very little, they sleep very little, and they work so hard, more harder than any materialist. Materialists, they're always working hard for sense enjoyment, but the spiritual master, they work hard to save the suffering conditioned souls. Don't see it. You're seeing it with your eyes. You should see through your ears. Okay? Don't see a devotee through your eyes, because sometimes a devotee, a pure devotee, may have a deformed body. We have one sannyasi, he only have one leg. So is that like some, what's wrong? You may think, oh, what's wrong? He's a spiritual master, he only has one leg. No. What is more important is their purity. When they speak, it affects your consciousness. You get purified. So how do you serve them? You can serve them even through your mind. If you cannot serve a Vaishnava by serving like say personally, through your mind, you can serve by wishing best for that devotee. A pure devotee of the Lord, he doesn't want to be actually served. A pure devotee of the Lord, he doesn't think himself as a devotee. He sees everyone as a devotee except himself. On the contrary, a neophyte devotee, he thinks that he's the only pure devotee and everyone is neophyte. A Prakrita Bhakta, he thinks that he is the most elevated, even though he is full of material desires and full of faults. A pure devotee is automatically very humble. Usually they don't want to be served, but you can serve them in a different way. You can give them donation to spread Krishna consciousness. You can give donation to them to help build the temple. It's not always physical. It can be, through, you can serve them by following their instructions. They give you instructions, so you follow that instruction. You are serving them. By reading Bhagavad Gita, by following the instructions from the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, you are serving Krishna. Serving doesn't necessarily mean physical. It could be spiritual, could be through the mind. Is that okay? Pawan? You're muted. Unmute yourself so you can say so. Is that okay?
Yeah, Prabhu, I understood. The Guru is not ordinary. He is transcendental above material nature. And he is taking the reaction of karma of his disciples.
That's right.
And yes, and I also understood that serving by mind is also possible, and reading and chanting is also a
that is
service.
serving. If you chant Hare Krishna, you're serving Krishna.
Yep.
Thank you, Pawan Prabhu. We move on to next question. We have His Grace Dashrathi Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. I am Dasarathi Prasad Das. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Okay, Dasarathi Prasad Prabhu.
Yeah, Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisance at your lotus feet.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, I am a generic doubt. Most of the times it bothers my mind. Actually, the Prabhupada's, on the basis of Prabhupada, we can...
Just 1 second. I'm going to close the door. I'm hearing so much noise from outside. Yes, Dasarathi.
Yes, Maharaj.
Make your question short, okay?
Okay. Maharaj, just I want to say, Bharata Bhumite Janma Haila Jara Janma Sarthaka Kari Paropakara. This statement, actually, Prabhupada has proved wrong. because it is not required that anybody has to take a birth in the India, that only he can only make his life successful, that we are able to see from you. So my question is that in this context, after we are being the Indians living in a very conducive atmosphere, which is very conducive to the devotional devotions, but the living entity, the human being who are staying out of the India, they want hear the holy name. The intensity of devotion they are growing in their heart is far, far better than we Indians, because we are from their childhood we are living in a conducive atmosphere, but we are not able to grow. But the other people though who are not born in the India, not in the Bharat, they are growing faster. So
Okay.
what is the difference, Maharaj? Why we are not able to grow?
I'm going to ask you, you're from India. Why? Why? You should know the answer. Because the Indians, they try to imitate materially the West. We are losing our culture here in India. But actually, Bharat means Bharat Bhumi, the whole planet Earth. The whole planet Earth is called Bharat Varsha. Okay, Bharat is not just I love my Bharat. I love my Bharat doesn't mean only I love India. When you say I love Bharat, means I love the whole planet Earth. Okay, so yes, the West, what we call right now is the modern society. Some of them are really sick of this westernized or materialism. So they look for an answer and they look to the East. That means in this area where transcendental knowledge coming from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam can be easily read and appreciated, especially if it's explained by some advanced devotees. So they're looking for an answer, how to get their miseries and sufferings be alleviated. Unlike here in India, we think that happiness, some, not all, some they try to imitate the West, because West they think, oh, they look very happy. They have so many material things. But material things is not the way how one can be happy, accumulating many, many material desires. So this is the unfortunate situation, especially those who live in the city where it is congested. Delhi, NCR, 40 million people, 40 million people. That's a lot. And everyone is going back and forth, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Their goal is to just to survive by accumulating money. So they lose the purpose, the aim of human form of life, to get out of this world, to attain moksha and go back to Vaikuntha, place where there is no anxiety. So that's why we try to distribute lots and lots of Bhagavad Gitas and Srila Prabhupada's quotes. So in this way, we'll try to remind the people here in India about the goal of life. We are here just messengers. The main messenger or the main person where we get the knowledge is from Lord Krishna. So we just try to represent Lord Krishna as it is. And many also, especially the youth, they're having a program tomorrow, the youth, they try to have as many as 25 lakhs youths all over India. Because the youth or the children, they are the future of our society. So we have this preaching program, especially our Sundar Gopal Prabhu and his team. They're trying to have a seminar, a webinar It's called webinar. And they have registration. I'm sure they already crossed maybe 10 lakhs. 2 days ago, there were 4 lakhs registered. And every day is increasing. So tomorrow is the final one. So we'd like to introduce this to everyone, or reintroduce this. It's like Krishna 5,000 years ago. To reestablish the principles of religion. So we are representative.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, I think we lost you there. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, we cannot hear you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. Shukapriya Prabhu, if you are there, are you there, Prabhu? Shukapriya Prabhu?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you please check with the Maharaj?
Yeah.
I think he'll just come back. I think he'll just rejoin.
Okay.
There are 2 more questions in the chat box. So once Maharaj returns back, we will ask those questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Really, we were wanting you, and you have given us so valuable time and the valuable details of the Shastra. My question pertains to, you said there are 3 kind of devotees of the egg, and then there are 3 adhikaris. And now, in the practical situation where we all are, most of us are congregation and with the Grastha ashram and serving the temple, serving the devotees, having association, we practically, most of us, if not all, most of us are like a half-baked bread, half-baked chapati, where we have the knowledge, but we are practicing to a limited extent. Maybe there are certain constraints, maybe mental constraints, or our time constraints to practice those things. And then we know the ideal situation also, where we have to reach that transition going from the half-baked to the full-baked. What makes us to the transition? We also know the answer also, but when it comes to the practical thing, having a family, parents, children, going to school, having services, most of our devotees are in that situation, which I see, which I have gone also through this situation. So that transition of coming to the ideal situation, kindly give us some light on that.
Well, it depends on what is your priority. What is your priority in your life? You want to make spiritual advancement? If you want to make spiritual advancement, then you will do anything and everything to fulfill that. Don't be diverted. Don't be diverted with the, what you have besides Krishna. Materialists, they just want to fulfill their material desires. So it's not so easy to do it. Not so easy to become Krishna conscious. But only you can do it with the association of devotees. So what you're doing is proper. What you're doing is good. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, we have another question from His Grace Sugar Priya Prabhu. So I'm just adding him to the spotlight there. Prabhuji, can you please ask your question?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for such an enlightening class. I think again something, Maharaj is having some issue in his computer. I just spoke to him.
No, I
His
think
laptop
Maharaj
is having. Maharaj, you're there. Thank you.
I'm back.
Yes, Maharaj. My question is very short and simple. Maharaj, what attracted you in the beginning in Krishna consciousness that you
What?
decided to
I'm not able to hear you.
dedicate your
Slowly.
life?
Slowly.
And what is okay, in the beginning, what attracted you in Krishna consciousness that you decided to dedicate your life? And you still, and what is the
Listen,
main thing that
Prabhu.
still you're going on?
Haribol Prabhuji. I'd like to answer this question, but very short, because of dedication of our Guru Maharaj and the sacrifice that Srila Prabhupada did for us. This is what made me continue on in Krishna consciousness. Okay.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, there are two quick questions in the chat box. So one of the question is that is Yogamaya and Mahamaya the same personality or two different personalities?
Extension. Yogamaya is the original, Mahamaya is the extension of Yogamaya. Two personalities, but at the same time, same extension. Like electricity is the same current, but one can be used for cooler and one can be used for heater. Same energy,
right?
Okay, but different functions.
Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. Wonderfully explained there. Maharaj, another question, which is why in the first place Maya was created by God? I think you briefly answered it.
What's that again?
Why in the first place Maya was created by the God?
This is from because this is the end. We have to function in such a way, the energy. Even though it says Daivi Hisha Gunamayi Mama Maya Durateya, this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome. But if we surrender unto Krishna, we can easily go beyond. So it's like you go to a country, it's like in America, they have 4 seasons: summer, spring, summer, winter, spring, summer, and fall. So that is the place. The material world, this is the material world. So it has to have some energy so that we can function. Okay? It is not Krishna's choice to have the material energy here. We chose it to be. You want to be happy? Okay, you will think that you will have to be happy. So this is the function of the Maya. You think, but that is not real.
Right, Maharaj. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you. I would request Achyutari Prabhu to give a vote of thanks to Maharaj and also declare our winner of yesterday, who has won the contest of writing best Srimad Bhagavatam note. Prabhuji, can you please unmute yourself?
Maharaj, with your kind blessing, this program is only a month long we started, and with this system about a week ago, and we are finding it very useful. With your kind blessing, Radha Chit Hari Prabhu was the winner of the yesterday's contest, and he has done wonderfully well in writing his notes, and we want you to kindly give him some blessing, and so that we can proceed and motivate with other devotees also.
Maharaj, we have Radha Chit Hari Prabhu there on the screen and seeking your blessings.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj ji. Please accept my humble wishes.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, he has created best Srimad Bhagavatam notes in yesterday's class. And so we request you to please bless him and shower your mercy on him.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we end the class here, and we would like to loudly chant Hare Krishna Mantra to thank Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare Hare. Maharaj, thank you for your kind association.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. So we end it here.
Haribol. Goodbye.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, keep coming, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So we end it here.